Hi, welcome to the Mohua show. My name is Mohua Chinnappa and I am an author, entrepreneur and ex-housewife. This podcast is about everything from business to technology to arts to lifestyle, but done and spoken ईमानदारी से. Hi, in today's episode, we have with us the very talented duo, the founder of Amrich, Amit and Richard. Amit Vijaya, Richard Pandav, both are students from NID, the National Institute of Design, and they have been redefining Indian artisanship since 2011 with their brand Amrich.
Thank you for having us on the podcast, Mohua. It's a pleasure. Basically, the name was thought of as Amrich. We wanted the product to speak. The middle name was thought of as the product speaking about the craftsmanship that has gone to create it, the love, the affection, and the hands that have gone to create it. And it states that it's Amrich. And it just works that both of us have names that work with the label. So we were thinking of whether we want the label to have a Hindi connotation or in English. So in Hindi, it would have been Amiri, which goes with our names again. And Amrich in English works that way.
One of my favorite brands, of course. So, I just wanted to figure out from you that obviously your brand, which is a very unique blend of luxury and Indian craftsmanship. Do you agree that, consumers in India are sometimes willing to pay a lot more for international brands, but they're unwilling to do the same for Indian designers? Do you think there is a little bit of a truth in that?
I think there's a good mix of both. The thing is that international, of course, fashion from the West has been around for donkey's years. Indian fashion is still at a very nascent state. And understanding Indian fashion for the Indian consumer is very new. So we've always had like our bridal and festive wear where people, I think, it's emotional buying, so they tend to spend a lot more money there. Plus, it's difficult to compete with the international brands where it comes to publicity and getting yourself exposed to public. But having said that, I think there's an innate appreciation in our Indianness to appreciate good quality, finesse, and all those things. And today we have a very good mix of clientele who know how to take those things from the West which appeal to them, and things which are Indian, but at the same time and wear them in the right place. So Amrich as a brand, we always thought that it's not necessary that if you're wearing khadi cannot be West or khadi cannot be luxury. Or for that matter, anything that is handcrafted has to look rustic. Handcrafted can look extremely chic and it can look extremely wearable.
So, when you talk about handcrafted, which is very central to your brand, so what is it that drives your passion, for celebrating the traditional craftsmanship in this modern fashion landscape? And, we know that there's a huge demand for fast fashion. Of course, you're not in that segment of the market. But, let's just go back to a little bit of your past. How is it that, handmade has been an emotional context for you?
I think both of us, we come from a place where both of us love working with our hands. So we've always loved, and also our education from NID has taught us that it's not about gadgets, it's not about technology. Tomorrow, none of that exists. As a creative force, we would still be able to create. And they've taught us all those tools, we've learned all those things. So for us, it's important that work from the hand is something that is spiritual, I feel, in a way. And it's something that touches the heart. So for us, it's very important. And we don't believe in that, aapka bana hua hai, to aisa hi hoga. We try to strive that the making of the hand is better than the making of the machine. Because ultimately, machines are also created by humans. So that's something that drives us very strongly. And we firmly believe there are things that we can do with handcraft that we can handcraft that cannot be done by machine.
Richard, would you like to talk a little bit about your, your love for handcrafted stuff? Did it start with, very early into your childhood? When did you realize? Because for me, when I look back at my own self, there was so much of craft all around me, which I took for granted while I was growing up in my parents' home. And it's only now that I've been able to articulate about how much I love handmade stuff, how much I love Indian fashion, how much I love, the aesthetics that is involved in anything that's beautifully, created. So, Richard, why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Hi, Mohua. Mohua, I think my love for handcrafted textiles and the uh, art comes from is I think my love for the Mughal era. If you say Mughal or I think how do I put it? It's the opulence of the royals. I think that's where my love for Indian craft comes from. Uh, and I think it's his love for minimalist and my love for the opulence is what brings Amrich what it is today.
How amazing. I was in Lucknow this time. I went to the stores that had these beautiful, of course, unfortunately, Seva is shut in Lucknow. It's no longer there. And, but, you see the kind of opulence that is there with chikankari, which is, of course, one of my favorite forms of embroidery, in India. So I so agree with you with the opulence, that comes in with the Indian embroideries like Zardosi, like, chikankari. But your embroidery is very different, right? And I'd really like you to talk about this absolutely amazing Indian piece that you've made for me. I just fell in love with it. And you've used it in a very Western way. So how did you come up with the entire embroidery work of yours, which is absolutely different from the rest?
So for us, it's very important. I mean, of course, you've seen a lot of our clothes and you've experienced a lot of our clothes. Or we buy textiles in various clusters of the country, like Bengal being one of the primary clusters where we do the finest of pottery, silks and all. So for us, it's very important that every possible we understand the limitations and the possibility. The problem that happens with clusters is that because, of course, it's a given that they are working for the economics. They're doing the work because they want earn a living and a livelihood. So they'll do things which are safe. They'll always do things which they know the market will be there. It is. What we tend to do is we do not like doing something which has been done before. See, I think that's a creative curse, you could call it, or if our personal thing, we would always like to break the mold. So for us, it's very important to understand the technique, see what can be innovated. I would not say innovated, but what can we change, where you give a more appealing new look. So beadwork is not something which is new to India. Beadwork has been happening in various forms. Beads are something that we absolutely love because of the texture it provides, the side playing with beads. Of course, again, it comes from a graphic point of view where each bead can work like a circle or a dot. So it allows us a lot of possibilities. And we mix it with our woven textiles, with our love of shibori, which is again a craft which is very signature to us, something that we like. Shibori is there's this style technique which traditionally comes from Japan. It involves the tie. It's similar to bandage in a way, but that's simplifying it completely because it has a lot more possibilities that are there. And so everything that we do, even in our embroideries or creating of our textiles, gets a little inspired from shibori because of the resin styles. It allows us to do textures. It allows us to do creative fabrics, and it's just our how would you say, Pila to do something new that drives us. So for the piece that you're talking about, also it's the handwoven silk from Bengal, which is like absolutely gossamer, and then we added glass beads to it in the same color. So it's just ethereal. It's something that when we look at, we feel happy.
Absolutely, I feel completely ethereal when I wear your clothes. And what I need to compliment you is this, that, I have an emotional attachment with the designs because they are so forgiving to the changes in my body. And for an average woman, you go through so many changes. Some months I am bloated and some months I'm lesser. And the clothes just fall on me so beautifully. So, of course, I am biased with your brand. And for all our listeners here, I would like you to know that if you want to love yourself, you need to pick up an Amrich piece. So let's just talk a little bit about NID, and how your education influenced your design philosophy. And how do you stay innovative, amidst this all these evolving trends? Because I see so many people doing these fitted clothes, and I'm at a stage in my life where I would really prefer to have clothing that sits comfortably on me on an evening out, and after I've had a meal, and I still feel pretty by the time I leave the place. So how is it this that you've been able to maintain your design structure, keeping this in mind? Because an Amrich piece for me will stay forever. It'll never ever be dated for me.
I'll start with firstly talking about being accessible and being loved by women of different shapes, sizes, includes caste, creed, color, whatever. We don't design like that. We don't design for a specific woman. We design for we. And we both have mothers. And I mean, at the end of the day, we learn from that, but we will change. They keep evolving. As in all humans should ideally, not necessarily they do, but they should. But women do, and our own bodies. I mean, what we were when we were in our 20s and what we are in our 40s. So as designers, we have to understand that. And at the end of the day, our mantra, our guiding mantra for our label is the elegance of simplicity, the beauty of handmade, and the indulgence of comfort. I think that the last word is something that we strongly believe in. So there are times when we create textiles and when we do things, but we're both very finicky about the textiles that touch our bodies. So we bring that into design. It's our personal experience, it's our personal choices, I think, that comes into our label very strong. And as far as the 90s is concerned, I think for both of us, it was quite a cultural shock and a cultural change because both of us are not from design backgrounds. I was a Pottany graduate, working in graphic design, and Richard was an IT graduate, and he was trying to figure out what he wants to do because when you have the creative streak, you don't want to fit into the normal job roles. And we just happened to both of us apply at the same time of NIB. He had applied for apparel design. I had applied for textile design. We got through. We met. I think it was, I call it destiny that we were supposed to meet. And we learned a lot at NID. I think the beauty of studying at a school like NID, which is multidisciplinary, is firstly, you get students from all over the country. So you get to interact with different cultures, which otherwise becomes quite difficult because you're living on campus, you're living with the same friends, you're living with people who get to know how people are different, the thought processes, their behavior, their style, and how you can very easily adapt things from other people without even knowing it, which in today's times is called appropriation and is a bad thing. So, but it just becomes a natural part of you. And I think that enriches us. Plus, playing around with different disciplines, like if I was a textile student and I wanted to dabble with multimedia, that would be allowed. If I wanted to work in the woodwork shop, that's allowed. So it kind of enriches us. I don't know how to put it in simple words, but it's definitely a growth in terms of the way you think. And I think process is very important when it comes to NID. That's something that's drilled into us from day one, that you have to have a process to your work. There always has to be questions as to what you're doing, why, and you have to question it yourself. You don't let other people raise their fingers. You do it yourself. You should be satisfied before you go ahead and put it out in the world. So I think that's very strong for us also. That stayed with us more than a decade now, and it drives us.
So collaboration, Amit, can spark creativity, So have you partnered with, obviously you said you spoke with clusters in India, and have you also worked with any other designers to, create anything in your, among your collections, or is it only been clusters? If it has been the clusters, which are the clusters in India that you would say you've had the best experience in working?
We've not had the opportunity to collaborate with other designers per se, but we've had lots of opportunities where we've been brought in as consultants or for designing potential for APOs and organizations. Like we did a show with which was collaborated. Insha, the sewing machine people, they basically run the Root House Walls and in rural areas, and we train them to sew and that. And this has been going on. It was surprising for us that we hadn't heard of it earlier, but when the project was offered, it had been going on for, I think, 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. And they have a huge infrastructure of meaning and who have learned. So we were brought in to work with them to create the next tool could be commercially viable in today's fashion scenario. So we were amongst a group of designers, and that was one fun project because for us, our cluster was Kalabera in Rajasthan, and we had to work with these women who was more. You would have had we would have laughed your head off at the same time, and we would have thought that it's so beautiful to see these women in Rajasthan because of the patriarchal society. The women will be sewing, and all of a sudden if they see somebody walking on the road, they will then gunga down. They keep sewing, but they'll be a gunga hold. And you'll be wondering that these are the women who actually were people who were not allowed to even step out of their house. And today, there was one girl who was there who had undergone training and was part of the final team that was eating the clothes. She had a wedding, and her husband came to drop her off to do the date. And she had known that she'd come and pull Friday finally. And we were stunned, and we said, "Why are you here?" So she said, "I told my husband about this, and my husband said, today there's no difference in man and woman. And if a woman has the talent, she should be allowed to do what she deserves to do." And we were taken aback. So that was one of the projects that we had worked on. We've done a project with there's a very beautiful organization called Sujani Foundation in Bihar, based out of Patna. And there's this very dynamic lady called Mrs. Nina Upadhyay who had been trying to revive the traditional weeds of Bihar and getting weavers to come back and weave, like basically heretic weavers who have left and gone into manual labor and building construction and stuff like that because their livelihoods were see rosier. So we were brought in by Tata Trust to work as consultants and design a range of sarees and take them on their feet, say that they could sustain by themselves. Today, we're very proud to have been associated with them and have given them the name Gurikar Bihar at the and 4 years down the line, they're self-sustaining. They're backed by international brands, known source fabrics, they develop textiles. And the group of weavers has increased. The amount of livelihood that has been generated through that one project is insane.
So Amit, that really comes through actually through all of your work. The word that you use, Chaka Chaund Ki Duniya, it comes through the genuine, love for art is very evident in your designs and the way you both are, for the brand. So what are your plans for the future? What is the vision that you have for the brand's future?
So we basically want to go into more lifestyle products and cater to a wider audience. Yeah, we create with the same finesse, with the same ethos, I would say, create and offer products and objects which would appeal to people who understand what the beauty of handcraft is and getting you that. But it's one of the things that we are planning to. We finally, after a period of 10 years, which I'm not very proud of saying, have a website up and running. Because earlier we used to always believe that online selling is not for us, since you have to experience an Amrich product. You have to touch the fabric, you have to wear the garment, to understand the feels, to see the fabric, which however well you wish to the garment, it never comes. I mean, we're not there yet with the forms of technology where you could actually access the tactile beauty, basically, I would say. We finally have a website onto it, and we want to basically get into a little more of the formal way, because we have a lot of clients who wear our clothing for really small occasions and everyday wear and things people who enjoy like in the beauty. And they've been asking us that, when we have to go, we're so comfortable in our clothes, but when we have to go for a wedding or for, say, an event or an occasion which is slightly more formal, we have to get out of our comfortable zone with clothes and get into something more uncomfortable. So we want more aesthetics to come into that arena. So that's a big market for us, because that's a request that has been in the last 5 years. So we like to take it more closer to the chest, and we have menswear and we offering, which is going to launch soon. And like I said, lifestyle products. So things that keep driving us, and we like to see what new things that we do.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you so much, Amit. This was such a pleasure to talk to you, because I'm a huge fan of your brand. And, just for our listeners, I need to say this, that I had, chanced upon seeing one of Amrich's product in one of these places in Delhi. It was Bikaner House, and there were lots and lots of clothes kept in the, in that rack, and there was this check gossamer like silk fabric that was calling out to me, and I looked at the brand, touched the brand, and I said, oh my God, I need to get in touch with them. And I think somewhere upstairs there was a manifestation that was being heard, and I met Amit and Richard, and and I know that this is a very, very long-term friendship, and I'm an absolute fan of the work that you both do. And the last question that is really funny, but if you were to dress up Rakhi Sawant, which of your collection would you choose to dress her up in?
I don't think she wear anything of ours other than our formulas. Maybe our organza forms, where we would have to do a little bit of it. In today's world, I would consider her extremely bold, and I respect her for being who she is and having her own standing. As far as entertainment is concerned, I think she delivers, because she calls herself an entertainer. It would be an honor to see how, of course, it depends on what piece she's wearing us for, so then we'd have to get into all of that.
I think the beaded white dress will look absolutely stunning on her. It's one of my favorite pieces. And this was Amit and Richard of Amrich today. Thank you so much for being on today's podcast. And I look forward to meeting you in person too.
We are great fans of your personality, so it was an absolute pleasure. Lots of love and power to you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Richard. Thanks. To you, our dearest listeners, you can find us on your favorite streaming services, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and of course on all other major streaming services. With loads of love, we are The Mohua Show, where we talk ईमानदारी से.